Hello and welcome back to a foreigner and family in the Philippines. And I'm over here getting ready to just give a update on the Falcata trees here. And these are not the Falcata trees that we have in the nursery. These are the Falcata trees that are already existing on the property. We actually had when we purchased the property last year, there were a hectare of Falcata trees planted on the property, and these are the Falcata trees. And we finally got cleared on the property, or we're clearing the property of weeds. Like, all this was weeded. Like, there were weeds that were chest high back here, and we've then now sprayed, and so hopefully their little ones are dying. But I'm just showing what the Falcata look like that were back here. And so this would be an example of a Falcata tree. Now that one, I don't know if you see that in the picture, they have some, I'm told that it's a worm that crawls up there and makes those little cocoon things, and then it kills the branch. We've got to get up there and get those off. We've gotten it off of a lot of them. That one's a little high. We don't have ladders back here yet, but that's what a Falcata tree looks like. And they grow typically long and straight, and they're used for, it's a soft wood, and they're used for paper products and plywood. And so these are the ones that were here, and they were in terrible shape. Like this was left here. These vines were left on this one because when we went through clearing these, a lot of these had vines on them. Some of them you had to leave vines on because they were actually providing support for the tree. Now I can pop these off now. They're pretty loose, but like you can see the trees. So hopefully they bounce back. We'll get some fertilizer on these. And like you can see here, this whole little patch where just the sticks remain, and we left the sticks because we cut some of those. Sometimes they bounce back. Like, I'm looking at this stick here. It looks like it's got a little life left in it, and I don't know how productive, if that's a good thing or if we just need to go ahead and replant them, because we have the seedlings over there, and I don't know if it's good to have the main stalk like that cut and then a shoot growing off of it. If that's going to provide a good solid trunk, because we want to have a circumference of 20 centimeters on these, otherwise the price is significantly lower. And as you can see, they're about as big around as my thumb, so they have a ways to go. And these were planted about 1.5 meters by about 1.5 meters apart, which is way too tight on the spacing, and they were neglected. The weeds were up to our chest, and the vines were up over the trees even. They were up into the trees, and we had to get in there and untangle that. And some of these look pretty bad because of that. And some of them, yeah, a lot of them died actually. This guy. And a lot of these, they weren't pruned. We had to come through and prune them. A lot of them had, like this one still does, 2 trunks growing out of it, in which case I'm going to come through and eliminate one of those. We did that on a lot. Some of them had 3 or even 4 coming out. So I'm just kind of walking through here. I'll show you what some of these look like, but they were in bad shape. They already look amazing compared to what they were. It's like this one was just covered in vines and weeds, so it didn't make it. This one probably was, and it is stunted, like it's not as tall as the others here. So these are the Falcata trees, and the spacing that I'm going to use is about a 4x4 meter. It's going to be a 4x4 meter spacing for them. And I know there's kind of rocky back here, but other trees grow just fine, and so it looks like they grow just fine even with these rocks here. So that's good. But yeah, they were pretty severely stunted and neglected. So hopefully we're going to get back in here and get these healthy and get them pruned and get some of these other trees either pruned or removed that are blocking their light. I'm actually going to go to the other side and take a look at those right now too. Okay, and so I'm back over here. I'm showing some more of these Falcata trees that were existing on the property that we're trying to save. I don't think we're going to replant this hectare, and it'll be interesting to see with the 1x1 spacing. I have a feeling there's less pruning that I have to do, except they may take a year or two longer because they were to fully mature because they were planted so closely. And like these trees overhanging didn't get pruned, and these Falcata here are pretty stunted, and a lot of them died because they were covered in vines. And so we'll come through, and I won't replant the 1x1 or the 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter spacing, but if there are like 3 missing, I'll come back and plant the one in between. And this little patch here has several missing, and I can see by the dead sticks here that although some of these sticks are, this one was coming back even though they had the vines like this. We pruned these about a week and a half ago, or not pruned these, but took care, weeded and took the vines off, and actually did prune them. Prunes the ones that needed to be pruned, but these little ones that are barely hanging on didn't get pruned because they didn't need it. So got a bunch of dead sticks. And like I said, there's this little creek here, and there's overhanging trees. And now we can't touch the native trees, and we're not going to. We're just looking to and take care of the ones that we can cut. There's a bunch of jackfruits and a bunch of gemelinas. So we want to clear those up so these guys can now grow. And the gemelina is actually a hardwood, and I'm probably going to make a video on that later because we have somebody coming to purchase the gemelinas. Now they are immature trees, so we don't think that they're going to fetch a. I know they're not. They're giving us only 1,500 pesos per file, and the fact is I don't even know what a file is. I got kind of a guesstimate measurement. It comes up to the chest. It's about like a, I don't know if it's like a cubic, or 5 cubics, or what it is, but we'll see what that ends up being. But it was trees that we were just going to cut, so it'll be nice to actually get a couple pesos for them. And I actually would have liked to have made a video, but I didn't have my camera yesterday. We had somebody come, and we had 2 durian trees, and they harvested the durians. The guy was absolutely amazing how he clipped those down and so fast. And these durians, I don't know if you've ever held a durian, but they're like a little spike ball, a super sharp spike ball. And then he even opened up one. I tried a durian again. It's official. I do not like durians, but this is kind of what we're dealing with. All those these were neglected here from the time, at least from the time we had bought it. It looks like they had just been planted and left, and this one still has a bunch of vines in it, but they were like a huge mat of vines. Like you couldn't even tell, like when you were clearing back here, because that you had so many falcatas, because they were just covered in weeds, and you had to be very careful not to cut them while you were weeding. Like this has a bare patch I might fill in with our seedlings here. So that's just an idea of the falcata that was existing. I'm going to walk over to the nursery now and give an update on how those seedlings are doing. Okay, I made it back over here to the Falcata nursery. This is the setup we have over here. These are the seedlings. Most of them are alive, looking not too shabby. So we put the Terminex in when we actually planted the seed. the germinated seeds in these baggies to, and the soil looked really rich over here. I would have preferred it to be a little more sandy. This is more of a, it's got some clay in it. It was fairly, for what we got over here, it was fairly sandy. And we actually just dug out this side of the hill and used the dirt that was there. And I just yesterday added fertilizer in each one of the bags, so we've got some fertilizer in there. And now we're making sure we're off to a little bit of a rough start. We had the leaves on top. I was thinking maybe they weren't getting enough light, maybe it was too much, but we've just got the screen shading on it now. I'll probably leave that there for a couple more days before we take that off. And so they're looking all right. There are some when you look at the beds here, you can find some spots where some didn't take, and we actually replanted some of those because on the end we kept some of the sprouts because there were so many of those. And I've got way more seed than I needed. I bought it by the kilo. I bought 2 kilos of seeds. I only needed 1. And actually I probably wouldn't even have needed a full one. But over here at the end, we threw the rest of those little seeds, so there's still some that are there. We can actually fill some of those in some of the empty spots, or some of the ones where the seed didn't take. Like it looks like I see one right here with no sprout in there, so we can fill those back in. And I'd like to see these, I'll give it an update. I just want to see these guys getting a little taller. I was supposed to be, I heard, after 10 to 15 days, and once they've sprouted, it's okay to plant them into the ground. But these guys still look way too small, and it's been probably about 10 days now. So I think we'll wait a little while until they get a little bit bigger and they look a little bit healthier. And we've still got some clearing to do. We've just finished the initial clear, and we're going back next to the creek doing a little fine tuning on the clear. Oh, and we did the weed spray too, and we've got to go back and spray the area that we just cleared the last couple of days. And then we'll fine tune some of those areas that needed it. And I got to go back. There's some trees now, some non-native trees, some jackfruits, a couple of rotten meringue trees, and we're going to go through. We have a chainsaw and we'll go through and clear those. Oh, there are a couple of bamboo patches on the property. Bamboo is so handy. I hate to get rid of them, but there are 2 bamboo patches right there. And I think we're just going to cut those. Apparently that's like a furniture bamboo, so it's not as useful as some of the other bamboo that's around. Only a furniture bamboo person would buy it, which would be great if I had a furniture bamboo person. We have a really low ball price on some of the other patches of bamboo, like the whole patch for 500 pesos, which isn't very much. And later on we're going to have somebody coming out and harvesting some of these meringue trees, and it looks like we get 10 pesos per meringue, which is pretty good. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But well, that's it for the update on the, or just showing you guys the existing Falcata trees that were here, and the update on the Falcata nursery. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.